ready to do this. It's going to happen. We're doing it right now.
Oh, snap. What if we just had fireworks behind us? Oh, that's hot coffee.
Hot coffee with hot chili. This is a good combo, right?
It's just a bunch of hot.
Hot. It's a little bit of a spicy, chili. A little bit of a spice and a little bit of hot coffee. Cheers, Adam. Happy Wednesday. Happy Comic Book Day.
Happy
New
Comic Book Day.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome.
NCBD.
That's really hot. Spicy food with hot coffee.
Why did I volunteer for this? Where's my water?
Whew. All right. So, welcome, everyone. We are currently... Oh, God, my bad.
Okay.
We are streaming this right now to 3 different places. We are streaming this to Facebook, YouTube, and to Twitch. So welcome, everyone from all across the different areas of the internet. We don't have the Facebook chat pulled up right now because fuck Facebook. I have no interest in even pretending to think that it's a good platform to stream on. So Facebook, if you want to be a part of the conversation, maybe head over to YouTube or Twitch, one or the other, and check it out there. But yeah, we'll be checking out here. Yeah, here. Right here.
What is this show?
It's Comics and Coffee.
For everyone who on YouTube has never seen this before, because you haven't jumped over to Twitch to watch live stuff for some reason.
That's right. We talk about comic books. And we drink coffee.
That's right.
And then we'll do a live reading and get real dumb later.
Last week we did, what was it called? Murder Falcon? Bring this comic book. Bring this comic book. This comic book was so crazy, so ridiculous, but like the most fun I've ever had reading a comic. I kept saying I felt like this should have been an 80s movie directed by Carpenter or something.
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous.
We could, I mean, if you wanted, man.
Hello, issue 4, 5, and 6.
I mean, if you wanted, we could read some more today. It ends at 8. I mean, we can probably finish the series. I didn't even realize when I picked this up last week that I had the final issue.
Well, I told you the next morning.
Yeah.
We literally read issues 1 through 3. The next morning, I'd go on Twitter. Oh, we're so excited and so thankful to have the 8 issues, the final issue of Murder Falcon debuting. I was like, no. What? How dare you?
So before we get real deep into comic books and the comic books that we read and other news that may be coming out about it, wait, Twitch is slow and buggy, but I'll use it when I must, like crit roll. Get out of here. Get out.
Dang.
What do you mean? Get out of here.
Dang.
Yo, our content's way better to watch on Twitch. I said it. We got interactivity on that platform. We use that open API like nobody else's business. Get out of here with those comments.
Not lying. I mean, Kolak is insane.
Super insane. Get out of here. Of course that was a YouTube comment. You wouldn't say that in our Twitch chat. We'd smack you like that. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, so anyway, before we get too deep into comic book stuff, why don't we talk a little bit about comic book like related to media? Because I know a lot of your fans on YouTube, they are more like comic book fans through entertainment, movies, things like that. And we already had a question that came in that was basically, are you guys excited about The Boys? Have you read The Boys? Are you excited for the TV show? Which kind of falls right into your kind of territory.
Yeah.
Have you read The Boys yet?
I haven't, but I was just at a comic book shop, I don't remember when, like a week or so ago, and I was walking around and I saw it just on the shelf. And I was like, man, I want to pick this up. I haven't decided whether or not I want to read it before the series comes out or after.
Right.
I'm one of those people that I kind of like to just experience whatever the adaptation is, so I don't go into the adaptation with sort of an expectation of what the book is or the books are. I like to go into it and just treat them very independently. And thankfully, because I understand that like the visual medium and film and television, because you sort of can do whatever you want, and they have a lot of flexibility usually to change things or rework things so they fit better for film and television. I don't take that baggage into the book because I understand that the book is the source and they did it the way that they wanted to do it. And that's how the creators intended it for it to be done. So,
I mean, you know what I'm going to do for you right now?
Okay.
We're going to, because we have the power of the internet at our fingertips. I'm gonna open. I know, right? We're gonna open up a new tab for The Boys. I'm gonna give you a quick Wikipedia breakdown of The Boys. I have read the book. I read it all the way through, and I don't know if I like it.
Oh, interesting.
There were many different times throughout reading The Boys that I thought, okay, this is a little much.
Yeah.
This is a little much.
I mean, that trailer was bonkers.
Right. So I felt like there was other moments in it where I was like, this is awesome, but at the time, I feel like this came out around the same time when a lot of other people were doing these breakdowns of the superhero and flipping it on its head and being like, what if this was real? Man, this would be fucked up.
Yeah.
These guys did. I mean, I just talked to you about Irredeemable last week. It's
That's
a
right.
very similar kind of thing of like, if they were in the real world, what would that be like?
Yeah.
And The Boys, because it's Garth Ennis, it gets really dark and really fucked up. So there's always moments where you're like, this is really crazy. I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
And then other moments where you're like, wow, this dialogue is trash. It's just trash dialogue. I don't understand how that trash dialogue gets through. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I love Preacher. I personally feel like Preacher is a way better property for TV and that it's a lot more creative, it's more inventive, it's got great world building. The Boys has okay world building. It feels like it's kind of riding on the same thing that the comic book did at the time, which is superheroes are in right now. Let's do a show that's breaking down superheroes and how messed up they are.
Right.
All that being said, I read the book in 2010. So I don't remember everything.
Gotcha.
I read on average 2 hours of comic books per day. On average.
Unless you can't sleep and then you're up until 5 a.m. reading
I'll
them.
read a whole series. But technically, on a Wednesday, I might do 4 or 5 or 6 hours, depending on how many books came out.
Yeah.
And I forget shit, obviously, unless I do a refer. I don't have a Hector Navarro brain. I don't store that stuff like an encyclopedia. I enjoy it while I'm in it. I think about it while I'm in it, but then I move on to another book, and
Right.
10 years pass. I'm like, I don't remember.
It's the same thing with a
everything.
movie, right? Like so many people get on
Yeah.
our cases when we forget something out of Iron Man 2, and I'm like, bro, I watched Iron Man 2 last time in 2016. Of course, I'm not going to remember all the details of Iron Man 2. Like
I don't
that's
have
life.
a perfect memory. In fact, it's not very good at all.
We've been watching movies every single day for the last
That's
2
true.
weeks, so I'm thinking about those movies. I'm not thinking about a movie I watched 3 years ago.
Yep. So I read a lot of books, and some of them really stick with me. Other times, I zone out.
Yeah.
I'll read them while I'm falling asleep. I do the same thing with cartoons. I'll kind of like half watch, pay attention, fall asleep, think I've watched an episode, and then I realize later, I never saw that one. I guess I slipped through it.
Yeah.
So the Boys I thought was really great. I want to give you a real quick, wow, this Wikipedia article doesn't have to, it's more about the show than it is the comic book. Even
Usually
though
they
it mentions-
reference that it's like an adaptation of the comic.
Yeah.
Here's the wiki for that.
Well, premise, The Boys takes place in a world where superheroes embrace the darker side of their massive celebrity and fame, and revolves around a group of vigilantes known informally as The Boys, who set out to take down corrupt superheroes with no more than blue-collar grit and willingness to fight dirty. So they're normal humans, they don't have powers, and they just like research and figure out exactly how to get to them mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's dark.
Yeah.
It's really dark.
It's like
Got a lot of
it's like
gore.
taking the concept of a Hancock but making it gritty and
In a way.
dark kind of.
In a way. And it's coming out soon. I know there's billboards all over LA for it.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I check out every comic book show. I check out all of them, so I'm going to watch it. I don't know if I'm excited for it, though.
Yeah, it says that it was announced that the series will premiere on July 26th, 2019. So it makes sense that they would do it right after Comic-Con because you know they're going to have a panel at the con. That's going to be their final push to really get people in on it. And they'll probably debut the first episode and all that sort of stuff. So it makes sense. The release date completely makes sense. But it's close. I mean, it's only 2 months away.
Yeah.
So a little over 2 months. But yeah, I'm excited to check it out. After we saw the teaser trailer, I was super intrigued by the casting. Was a big thing. Like, I really like Carl Urban. I still am upset that we haven't gotten another Dredd movie with him. And he was great in Star Trek, and I loved him in everything. So I think that's the thing that's really like pulling me to this series right now, and just sort of the ridiculousness of that first teaser. It was insane. Like, a woman literally crushed a guy's head when she sat on his face, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, it's crazy, but we'll see.
Totally normal superhero moment.
I mean, it
right
happens to all of us.
there. Yeah. Definitely. And I saw somebody in the YouTube chat, John Choi, I believe it was, saying that they hope Deadly Class makes it over to Netflix because they need that shit in their veins right now. I really liked it. I enjoyed Deadly Class. I watched it every Wednesday out here, and I thought it was good. I thought it was really great. I like the comic book more because I think the comic, it's a really good comic book. You know, Remender is a guy who I think is at his height right now. Speaking of Low, an issue of Low came out today. It was okay. It's usually I like read a Remender book and I'm like, oh my god, Low's coming towards the end. You can feel that they're ready for it to end. Yeah. But anyway, Deadly Class is amazing. It's such a good comic book. It uses the format so well. It's extremely creative. The art is phenomenal. But the show is a really good adaptation, and you could tell Remender was a part of it. Hell, he even put that scene. There's a scene where he like shits his pants in a comic book shot. That is autobiographical. And I only know this because I have a friend who's a friend with Remender, and they were hanging out at a comic book shop in Kansas City and talking, and Remender told him that story, and then it showed up in Deadly Class the comic, and then it showed up in the TV show. I was like, this dude has no shame. He's just like putting this really personal moment from his life where he took acid and shit his pants when he was at work. And like, cool, all right, yeah, put it in the show.
Oh my God, that's kind of amazing.
Quality television right there.
Yeah. I caught a couple episodes while you were watching it, and I thought it was just visually so intriguing to watch the stuff that they do. I'm so curious what Netflix is what's gonna be sort of their bread and butter. If it's just gonna be Netflix original stuff, or if it's gonna be things from other networks, because like CW is pulling its catalog from Netflix. I think a lot of that has to do with
the DC app.
DC app, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if they're really going to lean into their own original stuff, or if they're going to start relying heavily, more so on, you know, Paramount and Amazon, or Paramount, Universal, and these other companies have other original things.
So I just realized that maybe this show is a good opportunity for us to talk about superhero TV, because we've talked many times about how for YouTube we don't really talk about superhero TV. For you guys' show, you focus mainly on the movies. I think it's small enough that we could cover it in Comics and Coffee. Small enough.
Yeah.
It keeps getting bigger, but
you follow it almost every single day, right?
Yes and no.
Okay. More than me for sure. Like, I read up on stuff, but I don't really sit there and watch it all.
Yeah. Last year, Malika and I were caught up on every single superhero show. But this year, because of Kolak and how much extra research I'm having to put in for that show, I had to cut some things from my schedule.
Yeah.
My 2 to 3 a.m. Time slot had to get cut back. So 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. kind of time slot got cut back on CW shows because they weren't really doing it for me right now. League of Legends, or not League of... Not League of Legends. Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Coffee brain. Legends of Tomorrow is one that I still really enjoy, but I do like just saving that for a rainy day, or not feeling well, laying in bed. I'm just going to binge watch and catch up on Legends of Tomorrow. I don't feel the need to watch that one week to week. I used to watch Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, all of them every week, Black Lightning. And I just... when I started looking at my schedule of all the things to cut, that was the first thing I cut, which kind of showed me how much those shows weren't really having an impact on me. They weren't really hitting that spot anymore.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, even for myself, as someone who doesn't follow the shows week to week, I usually will read up towards some sort of a finale or some sort of a break. I'll sort of try to just catch up based on what people are saying about it. And the finale for Flash was last night, and I think the finale for Arrow was the night before, and no one really has been talking about it. Like, I saw a few tweets.
I saw a little bit of trending, but it's usually trending within my own interest.
Exactly. Yeah. I think all the attention has been on Avengers and Game of Thrones, which I get. But yeah, no one's really been talking about the finales of any of these shows. And even though what I read about the finale of Flash, it seemed like it was a very heartbreaking episode.
Oh, really?
Not enough to sort of keep enough people's sort of attention on what's happening in that show. So I don't know. Yeah, Flash is an interesting show because I feel like it started out so incredibly strong, and every season it's got a little more repetitive and a little less interesting for me, which is part of the reason why I stopped watching, which kind of sucks. Like, I should have just kept with it, but it just didn't hold my interest enough.
I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Honestly, we probably enjoy Supergirl the most.
Yeah.
Outside of Legends of Tomorrow. And that's just because Supergirl at least feels like it has something to say, which is exactly why I think it upsets other people. Is, there are people who think, oh, this isn't what superhero comics should be about. And I completely disagree. To me, comic books, superheroes, they've always had something to say. They've always fought for something. You don't just fight for nothing. You fight for something. And I felt like Supergirl at least always had something to fight for. They were always making a statement. And sometimes those statements were super on the nose. Like really on the nose. Yeah. But then it became kind of laughable. But at the same time, I preferred that they were saying something instead of a lot of the other shows that say nothing. Arrow isn't saying shit. It's just a question of his own moral kind of code of, he doesn't kill anymore. Great. He's still wrestling with his past. But what does he fucking stand for?
Right.
And does the show stand for anything? And I prefer a superhero show, especially for TV. Especially for TV. A movie, I think I like a little more nuance. But a TV show that's going to have a long run like that and be as corny as these are, I want them to be fucking superhero shows.
Right.
I want them to be standing for that. I feel like Doom Patrol stands for something more than these shows do.
Yeah.
Doom Patrol at least feels like it's making a statement about, like, family and mental illness and things like that. Like, it has something to say, and it's interesting.
Yeah, and I wonder if part of that has to do with the fact that because DC and Warner Brothers Television are very much aware of the fact that, like, these are specifically made for our streaming platform, we don't really have to answer to anybody. It's just for our fans. They feel like the creative gateway is sort of more open for them to be like, great, we're gonna say something about family, mental illness, sexuality, and we're not gonna be afraid to do it because it's on our streaming platform, so all of our fans will be there to rally for us no matter what. So I think that's probably the advantage that both of those shows have.
Doom Patrol surprised the shit out of me.
Yeah, I mean, from
really
episode 1,
surprised me.
Yeah, I need to catch up. And I don't think the finale has aired yet, right? I think they're about 11, 10 episodes.
I'm a couple episodes behind.
Yeah.
My schedule really put me behind on a lot of TV.
Yeah. But I'm so excited to see what they do with Swamp Thing and Stargirl and whatever other shows they end up making on that platform. I think they've really done a great job. And Titans, I thought, was going to be a real snooze, and then I started watching it, and like it got
better as it went. I thought the pilot was trash.
Yeah,
I barely got through that pilot, but as it went, I thought it got stronger, and I thought the last episode was awesome.
Yeah,
I thought the season finale was so cool. Malika and I both loved it. And it's like, get this dickish Batman, that you think of him as a bad dad, and you don't even see his face. I thought it was great.
And now he's going to be in season 2.
Yeah. I thought it was good. It was good. And, Umbrella Academy came out, and that was really strong. I thought it had some narrative issues, but those issues they were present in the comic book as well as an adaptation. Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Have you watched Happy at all?
Oh, yeah.
It's on. There's only 3 episodes left in the season, I think, right?
I haven't watched season 2.
Oh, okay.
I watched all of season 1. Great.
I heard it's crazy.
There's so many comic book related properties right now.
Yeah.
And, I got a interesting story to tell all you youngins out there. This is gonna sound like a name drop, and I don't mean it to be. I don't want it to be like that. It was my first experience being in a big Hollywood producer's office, and this was in 2011 or 12. 2011 or 12. I can't remember which year exactly. Captain America had come out. Chris Evans was Captain America at this point. And I have to be careful how much I say about this because there's things that people can't know.
Kevin Feige, I'm going to...
I don't think it was his. I don't think it was his office. I don't know whose it was. But it was this big Hollywood producer. And friends... No, it definitely wasn't Feige. It was a friend of Chris Evans. And he had a indie film that he was producing and he was starring in. And he needed pickup shots. And this is something I used to do a lot whenever I was working as a cinematographer. I was non-union. Back then, I could get away with... I got to be really careful. You guys aren't going to go telling the union this stuff, right? Nobody's going to tell the union this stuff, right? So
someone's got a tab open on Twitter.
Sometimes when movies need pickups and they've already exhausted their budget, they would call guys like moi. Because I had my own kit, I had my own red, I had my own ready-to-go kind of setup, and I was a respected cinematographer without being union. I was making my way up through the commercial ranks. So I would get called in every once in a while to do these jobs, and it was always on the DL. Like, we wouldn't even have call sheets because they had to keep it as unprofessional as possible because they couldn't have the union find out that they were doing it. Because some people don't understand, like, when you're at a certain level of filmmaking, just doing a pickup day is going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars because you have to be hitting the bare minimum of all these union requirements. If a cinematographer's on set and there are certain union type, like, you got to have all these other things there too, and every one of them has a rate, and all of them have a certain rate, and it just means the film just doesn't get the shot done. So either the film just goes, well, we accept shit, or they go, all right, call your guy. let's get your guy in here. So it was me, Chris Evans, and the director, and that's it. And it was just us three, and we were in this guy's office. God. I don't know who this producer was, but it was a friend of Evan's. And I walked in, and I realized right when I walked into that office, like, I had just moved to LA like a year before, and I hated living in the Midwest because I always felt like I was shamed for liking comic books and all these things. And I walk in this Hollywood exec's office, and there's just, like, Brian Wood comic books lining the fucking walls, and then there was Alan Moore comic books. It was just like a collection of comics lining this entire office. And then there's at the end of every line of all these is a folder with their names on it, and then a folder with the name on it. And I realized every one of these is a pitch. Every single fucking row in this office of books followed by a folder, that's a pitch. That's an option. Somebody's trying to sell that off. Somebody's trying to sell that off.
Jesus.
And that was the start of it. And now you hear about a lot of writers, a lot of creators and world builders who want to get things made. They make a comic book because it's now a faster track to try to get your comic book out, get that IP under your name, and then option it off. You know, you got your storyboards, you have your audience, whether or not there was any traction online for it whatsoever. And that was like when I really clicked in my head. I was like, oh my God, like, comic books they're growing up in a way. They're becoming the entryway to Hollywood, and Hollywood is fucking paying attention. It was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
It was really neat.
I mean, Marvel opened that up and went, we love this, you will too. And it definitely worked to their advantage. Oh, man. Do you know what movie it was for?
I wasn't allowed to know.
Okay.
And I looked it up once. It's pretty easy to figure out which one if you go to his IMDb.
Okay.
But I won't say it.
Sure.
Because
yeah.
I mean,
it's not like we're streaming this on 3 platforms.
I don't want Chris Evans to get sued and then me to get kicked out of Hollywood.
you un-American Captain America.
I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to say. But I will say this, though. Meeting him in person was ridiculous because you meet certain, and you've probably felt this before, as a man, sometimes you meet other men that you immediately go, I am emasculated by you. I will do whatever you want. You are the alpha. You go to shake his hand, and you're like, oh, you're real big. And you are extremely charismatic and personable, and everyone in this office loves you. And whatever you need, it's yours.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
I believe this shot is yours, Captain America.
Whatever you got it. You got it, buddy. Whatever you need from me, I'm your man.
Oh man.
I am nothing.
Yeah.
It's just immediately you're like, oh, I understand the hierarchy now. And it's not ever very often I meet people like that. And sometimes if you ever get to LA and you ever meet certain actors, or even I know some people get this experience at cons, there are just certain people that have this charisma and this like presence that when you meet them, you're like, I get it.
All right,
you know?
I guess.
All right,
I guess
fine.
I'll tie your shoes for you.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you need. This is exactly why you are where you are, and you are in the right position for your job.
Yeah.
You know, for sure. But it's exciting to see how many of these things are getting picked up by television, how many things are moving forward as options for TV, and I think we are only seeing the beginning. I know a lot of comic book creators, and they talk about this all the time. They're optioning. I can think of 3 right now that have deals that haven't gone public yet that are signed, though. Yeah. And I can't wait for you all to find out about it. And when they do go public, we will talk about it on this show.
Hey.
And we'll probably have them come out and talk about it as well.
Hey.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. Some friends of ours. I'll tell you about it after the show.
Hey.
I'll tell you about it. It's really exciting stuff.
I love inside scoops.
Yeah.
That I can't share.
We get those a lot.
I know. Oh, I remember when we were at TwitchCon like 2 years ago, and you got an insight on something that has come out, or did that thing ever come out? I think it did. In any case, it was like way before, and I was like, I can't say anything, but
can't tell anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, can't tell anybody. Sometimes friend DAs are more scary than real NDAs.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows this. I worked on a bunch of Marvel movies before they came out. There was things about Age of Ultron that I knew that I shouldn't have, like, that I don't know if I should have known, considering the fact that I was already doing YouTube content. But being able to, like, not say anything about it and just be like, I don't know, maybe this thing happens, but knowing that it does was painful.
Malika
Straw?
bought me. Is this ice cream? Holy fuck nuts! Today's the best day. Comic books
there nuts
and ice
in
cream.
there?
Oh, I need a spoon right now. You know what? Chili spoon. Get out! Get out of here! Get out of here! Actually, I don't want to use my chili spoon. Can I get an actual spoon? Thanks, Malika. Okay, so moving on. There was somebody in the YouTube chat. We are reading the chat room. It might take us a little bit to circle back around to your questions, but we are paying attention, and we appreciate all of you that are watching right now and hanging out with us. I saw somebody ask, though, they just started reading comic books like a couple weeks ago, and they checked out Superman Red Sun, and there was one other thing. If you see it in the chat again, I forgot the first one you said. I know you said Red Sun, but you were asking if there were more things we should recommend. So, if they're saying Superman Red Sun, that's a Grant Morrison Superman run.
Yeah.
One of the only ones I like. You're a big Superman guy, though, so if you were going to tell somebody, check out this Superman book, what would you recommend?
Good question. I really like Secret Origins by Jeff Johns. I personally... Go to hell, Zach. I can't even look at you right now.
Oh, my God.
Should I bust out my big old tub of super peanut butter ice cream that I got this morning?
You got peanut. Oh, man.
But guess what? There's dairy in it.
I can't eat it. Thanks, man.
I tend to actually be a pretty big fan of when they do Earth 1 or Year 1 or Secret Origins or any of those sort of like, or Birthright. I like when the publisher takes a chance on doing a new alternate story about a character. So like Green Lantern, Flash Rebirth, like all those things. I love that sort of stuff. So if you don't necessarily know where to start in terms of the normal continuity of the comics, it can be really daunting. It can be really overwhelming. Yeah. Sometimes it's very difficult to figure out, do I start with Action Comics? Do I start with Superman? Detective Comics? Batman? Like, where do I go? So I usually tend to stick to reading these one-off stories, and then I'll wait for the trades for a lot of these different titles to come out, and then I'll slowly go through them. So, yeah, like let's say, I may not want to read Superman 1 through 12. I'll wait for the trade, but in the meantime, I'll read Red Sun, Birthright, Secret Origins, Earth 1. Like Batman has Year 1 and Earth 1. The Flash is now doing Year 1. So I like that because for me personally, it gives me so many different perspectives and different takes on the character. So then I feel like I'm kind of more open if the main comic book does something different with Superman, but I've seen it before, then I'm like, they did this in this run, and this is an element that I liked in this book. Let's see how they take that element and adapt it into the main DC continuity. So yeah, try those. Try stuff that's more like Red Sun, that is sort of like a one-off book, and see if you like that, and then slowly dive into the main continuity.
I would recommend Kingdom Come. Flashpoint was what the other one that they had read.
Flashpoint.
So that was George Shea. And also, Clockwork Fireball just said Black Hammer is so good. Thanks, Zach. Speaking of, when we get to our list today, a volume came out that ties into Black Hammer that I'm excited to talk about.
Nice.
But honestly, exactly what Adam said. If you're just getting into comic books, check out those. Like, you can honestly, if you just Google best graphic novels, type in graphic novels, not comic books. You'll find some great books that are one-off stories to really get you in. I feel like weekly books are for when you get to a point where you love a character so much
that you
want to be in it. I'm freaking in. I'm on Spider-Man. I pick up every Spider-Man book that comes out, and that's just because I read J. Michael Straczynski's run, which is my favorite run of Spider-Man. Some people dislike it. I understand why. There was the whole Gwen Stacy clone thing. I get it. Overall, though, his arc and what he did with Peter Parker and how he made Peter Parker grow, fucking amazing. I blame Quesada for everything that happened with One More Day. I don't blame Straczynski for that. He had a plan. He had things in motion. He put that story to work for like 8 years. One More Day was not his. I will never believe for a moment in my life that was his decision. Fucking dumbest shit ever. I had nightmares about that. Not because it was Mephisto, but because it was the stupidest story like hook I've ever seen in my fucking life.
But yeah,
I'm shook from it.
That's kind of how I get through comics, because for me, because I'm such a fan of movies, and I spend most of my time watching movies, not just comic book movies, but just anything and everything. I have a very limited amount of time I put towards comics, so it usually has to be some sort of a run, whether it's a trade paperback or it has to be some sort of one-off, year one, Earth one, new take on a character or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, like week-to-week thing for me is hard. I tried it when I worked at DC, and I'd pick up a bunch of issues because we just had stacks and stacks of comics. I really, really tried, but the week-to-week thing it got too hard and it felt too overwhelming. So I would say start small, find a character that you really, really love through a one-off, and then, like Zach is saying, then commit to reading the main arc.
It can be really hard because I'm doing this to you right now. So this is a great insight. Right now, I've asked you to come on the show. I've downloaded comic books for you, and you're just being thrown in. So you're not starting at number ones.
No,
you're just being thrown in.
Not all of them, at least. Yeah,
and that's a really hard thing to do. It's hard to walk into a comic book shop, see what number one or see what's come out this week, and if it's not a number one, be able to follow it and figure it out.
Exactly.
And we have the same problem when we tell RPG stories. We're telling long form stories, and you come in and you're like, "What? What's going on?"
Yeah.
A really well written issue. Hopefully, you're fine if they get that character's voice just right. But it's still really, really tough.
Yeah.
And often, what I end up doing, which I did this week too, I'll download a new book that's coming out. I'll read it, and if I like its voice, if I like the way it's written, if I like the art, I will go back and start at number one and catch up to that point. But I got to be hooked there.
Christian's asking, any Marvel comic suggestions?
Lots. I could go on and on for days. I haven't read much DC. I've read only the pillars. I've read The Kingdom Comes, the Batman, Red Sun, The Killing Joke. Anything that is like something that's won an Eisner, I've read that. But when it comes to what I read on a daily basis, it's mostly Marvel because those are the characters I grew up with. I would suggest Grant Morrison's new X-Men run. Phenomenal. I would suggest J. Michael Straczynski's Spider-Man run. I would suggest Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run. Still one of the best. Talk about reading, maybe that's a good one to read for somebody.
Especially a lot of people would talk trash about that character.
About Hawkeye?
In the movies.
God. Man, Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run is the frickin' action movie, like fun 70s kind of hip kind of vibe. He's a normal dude. He's running an apartment complex, and he's got bros to worry about. I love that book. I love that book so much. It's amazing. Mark Waid's Daredevil run. And you'll notice a lot of the things I'm talking about, even Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers run.
Yeah.
That, to me, is God-tier superhero comic book storytelling. I understand I might lose some credibility with some people by saying that. I think it's amazing, especially now having read through it 3 times, because every time in Avengers, when I read through it when it came out, thought it was okay. Read it last year whenever Infinity War was coming out, thought it was fucking amazing, and read it again this year before Endgame, and it just keeps getting better. There's so many things I miss.
Yeah.
I start picking up on all the subtle hints that he does. His storytelling is so deep, and it's so layered, and it's so well designed. It really is really great the further you go into it. I think some of Marvel's best work has come out in the last 15 years, but not in the last 5 years. I think they had a really high point around 2010. A lot of the stuff that dropped when Marvel Now came out ended up being freaking great. That's where we got Matt Fraction's run. That's where we got Mark Waid's run of Daredevil. That's where we ended up getting Charles Seale's She-Hulk run. That was so good. There was so much good stuff. It felt like at that time they had just been bought. There's all this hype around what's next, and it felt like they said, all right, let's give some really creative people the keys to our kingdom, and let's let them tell cool stories.
Yeah.
And about 5 years ago, they all left. Everybody left. Marvel lost so many people. They still have some really great people over there. They still got Jason Aaron, who is another amazing, amazing comic book writer. His Thor run, which we talked about last week, is absolutely phenomenal. It's really good. But that also dropped right at Marvel Now, and it was so good. So I feel like there needs to be some course direction. Marvel needs to rein it back in a little bit and give the creators some more control again, because it started to feel they got event fatigue again, and everything had to tie into everything, and it felt really cool there for a moment. It was like we had a bunch of writers actually telling single stories of each character and it getting to complete them without tie-ins. And that hasn't happened in freaking years. It sucks. But lots of really good Marvel books out there. All the Marvel Knights runs are really great that you can go back and check out. They're really fun to read, like Punisher Max and stuff like that. Really great stuff. Speaking of Garth Ennis work, too. I don't know. I could go on and on. Really, if you're looking for suggestions for comic books, I always like to tell people, and we used to do this on the pool, too. I was like, you tell me. You come to me. You tell me, what's your favorite book? What's your favorite movie? And I will recommend a comic book for you. There's a comic book for everyone out there. You can find the style that you like. And I personally hardly ever read Marvel and DC anymore. I mainly read indie stuff because it's killing it right now.
Yeah.
I feel like the indie works, like Murder Falcon, like Paper Girls. All these books that are coming out right now are so creative, so inventive, and superhero stuff is starting to get a little tired. And I'm anxious for some new voices to come up and get a chance to tell their stories. But a lot of them now are just like, fuck it, I'll make my own IP.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Whatever.
Man, Murder Falcon. If they announce in like 6 months to a year that it's going to get a limited 6-episode series on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or HBO or something, I'm going to be so ridiculously excited about it. It's going to be nuts.
I could find out for you. We're currently working with Skybound on some stuff. Oh, and I already told them I'm pitching them Murder Falcon. I sent an email.
Right.
We got done reading Murder Falcon on screen last week, and I got on Facebook, and I hit up my contact at Skybound. I was like, yo, you wanted pitches from us. Okay, listen. And I
Murder Falcon, here we go.
And then you told me the next day, oh, it's not happening anymore. I was like, what?
Son of a bitch!
They're not going to pick up our pitch because the thing's done.
Yeah.
What do we do? God damn it. Makes me so angry. I see the annoying ranter with what happened with Hulk in Endgame. Will we see Jennifer Walters fill that spot on the team? And what run of hers do you like? So, I will say what run. Charles Seal did a She-Hulk run that was really, really good. Brought in Hellcat, which you may know from the Jessica Jones Netflix show. It's really good. You should check it out. It's probably on Comixology Unlimited. I could look for you. But as far as speculation for movies and stuff like that, I'll let you take that.
I think it's very, very possible. You know, Kevin Feige has said that the next phase or the next run, whatever you want to call it, the next part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is very much going to be about diversification. Not for the sake of diversification, but because there are so many great other characters other than the 6 that we've seen primarily in all of these 22 movies. So I'm excited to see what, not just She-Hulk, but eventually bringing in Amadeus Cho. What are all the different facets and elements that that Marvel Studios can bring to the table that's not just what we know the Hulk being as, which is Bruce Banner and being a scientist and being this great mind, but like, what are the other things that these characters can bring also from their backgrounds as Asian Americans or as women? Like, all that stuff to me is super, super interesting. So I think it's very, very possible and very likely that we're going to start seeing these characters pop up more and more. We talked about it, I think we mentioned it in the last episode. You know, they had Amadeus Cho's mother in Age of Ultron. That character never comes back in the movies, has not been back since Age of Ultron. But they planted that seed. They also did the same thing with Miles Morales in Spider-Man Homecoming. So I think you're going to see a widening of the Marvel Cinematic Universe past the 6 to 10 characters that we have seen.
I hope so, too.
Yeah.
And I think they primed us for it.
Totally.
They definitely got us ready for it. So I'm looking up She-Hulk right now. And this show, let me just say, is not sponsored by Comixology. It just happens to be...
Not yet.
It just happens to be the best way for me to consume comic books right now. That's just the way it is. Speaking of really great comic books, check out Letter 44 by Charles Seal. Oh, so good. I love it. It's freaking amazing. It's really good. And it's on Comixology Unlimited. You can read most of it. So I'm just looking up here because they've got a lot of his work on Comixology Unlimited. I personally am on Unlimited. Yep, it looks like it's on Unlimited. She-Hulk 2014 to 2015. So if you have Unlimited, you can check it out. I can pull it up here for you really quick. Let me just...
See, I have Comixology, and I've had Comixology for a while. But because I don't have an iPad, I don't really go to it that often, but now reading comics for the last 2 weeks pretty consistently, I'm like, damn it, do I want one of these damn things? How expensive are they?
No, this run, so it's only a 6-issue run. Wow.
Oh, really?
It was so powerful, though. It's really
Holy
good.
crap, that's
it's really
short.
great. And the art's amazing, really well designed. It's great. It's good. You should check it out. And all 6 issues are on Unlimited. So
What's borrow? Is that basically renting it for 50 cents?
that's like if you have Unlimited, you can just read it. The 50 cents is if you want to buy it to keep it.
Oh, okay.
So if you're an Unlimited member, you get a discount on all comics, which is the main reason I have it, because I buy so many new comics every
Right.
week. It saves me quite a bit of money. And if it's a book that's been out for a couple of years, usually it will be on Unlimited for you to read for free. They have a limit on how many books you can have borrowed at a time.
Gotcha.
And other than that, though, it works
cool.
out pretty great.
I dig.
Let's see here. So I'm going to go back here. So, yeah, maybe we should start talking about the books that we picked up this week. We could probably talk about all these other things forever. But I love talking about books you should be reading if you've never read comic books before. I'm a big fan of that. I think there really is a comic book out there for everyone, and I absolutely love them.
Murder Falcon was all for me. I was like, I love this so much.
So good. Okay, so I'm going to go to my books collection and look up what we picked up this week. Once again, though, how's everybody digging the show and the format? Welcome new YouTube viewers. If there's anyone watching on Facebook, hello to you as well. Obviously, we do this every single week on Twitch, and we thought, we'll try co-streaming a little bit, especially with Adam on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we had a fun time last week, and Zach was like, you know what, we should try co-streaming. I'm like, I don't think it's a bad idea. Because then YouTube audience, you guys have an understanding kind of like what we do on Twitch. It's all live stream content every single day, 5 days a week, sometimes more, depending on what's going on the weekends. We have hyperdrives and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like YouTube doesn't necessarily know that because we're not always telling people like, hey, we're doing this here, go there.
Yeah, it's true.
Even though we have like people coming in from Twitch and watching the stuff there. So
oh man,
I like it. I love having the ability to co-stream this.
The Annoying Rancher also chimed in. Completely agree. I would love Latino rep with White Tiger, Nova, America Chavez. Being from Puerto Rico, I would love a generational tale for White Tiger. That would be freaking awesome. And oh my God, I want America Chavez in a fucking movie so bad. I want that Latino girl wearing her jean jacket and kicking dimensions. Talk about, we just opened up the multiverse. Can you imagine if just like this Latino girl comes up and just kicks a fucking hole in dimensions and walks through?
Oh my God.
It's so dumb. It's so comic book, but I want to see it. I want to see her kick a dimension open and be like, let's go.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, and I think there's now, because of what Marvel Studios has done, there's no limit, really. As long as they're consistently writing good scripts and telling good stories, they can kind of do anything. They've earned the trust of every single fan and non-fan, someone who converted to being a fan of Marvel for the last 11 years. They're kind of unstoppable until they stumble.
Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to pull up my recently purchased list.
This is the coffee.
Yeah, it's got it right here. Okay. All right, so let's just start going through. We'll just switch back and forth here. So picked up this week, we're just going to go right down the line, and I don't really know what order they put them in, but if you read it, we'll chime in. If not, we'll still talk about it. War of the Realms, Strike Force, The War Avengers. This ties directly into War of the Realms number 4. In some ways, I wish I wouldn't have read War of the Realms number 4 first, and I would have read War Avengers first. I wish the book would have told me to read it first, because there's a whole storyline with Venom, but I'd already read number 4, so I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. This is silly. I read these out of order, but I did think Strike Force started really well. The book starts with some amazing art, but then halfway through they switch artists. And it's not that art is bad, but that always pulls me out.
Yeah,
it always pulls me out.
Pulls you out, yeah.
And it started really strong. There was a great scene between Deadpool running from sharks that were on fire. Awesome. And Namor shows up in there, and Carol Danvers basically puts together a force of all these soldiers. There's a very soldier theme in this one.
Gotcha.
Except that, and even Deadpool calls it out, but this isn't Army Man Venom. This is 90s Big Tongue Venom. What's he doing here? But it's really just a setup to get... I don't want to spoil the Thor book.
Oh, don't, because I want to read that so bad.
I've been telling you a lot about the God Butcher.
Yeah.
The God Butcher ties directly into Venom and Null Venom's god, the symbiote's god. And there's a blade that Jason Aaron set up a lot of the stuff that is being run with in Venom right now years ago when he started writing Thor. And I think, honestly, it's the new Venom writer went, oh, this is great shit. This is it. Let's run with this. So knowing that Jason Aaron is writing War of the Realms, I figured one way or another Venom symbiote was going to come into play somehow because the beginning of Jason Aaron's run of Thor involves a symbiote, but in a completely different way that you would never expect. And it's really cool. It's really neat. And it powers the ebony blade, or part of the, what's it called? It's not the ebony blade because that's what Black Knight carries. It's similar, something like that. My brain, years ago. But anyway, it's great. It's really good and how he incorporates that. So I knew Venom was eventually going to come into play in the story. Finally does. But I thought Strike Force started really, really strong, switches artist midway, and it took me out of the book. It took me out completely to the point that I was like going back and forth and just like, I was really digging it, and this art's good. It's not bad. I don't want to say that the second artist is bad.
Yeah.
It's just so different. And I was so invested in the first half, and then I flipped a page and was like, what the?
Yeah.
And I'm in this, what the fuck's going on?
So is the War of the Realms, is that going to, at some point, be some sort of a big crossover event, or is it just like...
Oh, it's a crossover.
Okay. Yeah, because,
It's huge.
there's multiple titles on here that are
all of them. It's the
War of
Marvel
Realms.
crossover event for this season.
Gotcha.
Jason Aaron's heading it. And Jason Aaron has always used these crossover events that he's helping on to tie mainly back in. It's more about his Thor book. Thor's his main book right now. I know he's writing other stuff, but it always feels to me when he does these events, it's more about Thor.
Yeah.
When he did Original Sin, that was more about Thor not being worthy, and that set up Jane Foster. This one, it's tying back into the original stuff. It's got Malekith as the main lead, as the main villain, and the War of the Nine Realms that he's been building up to for years. He's been building up to it for years, which is surprising because it's silly as shit, but I like it. The Thor book is not silly as shit. It's the best epic tale I've read in Marvel, probably. But War of the Realms is silly as shit. Malika and I really love it because it is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you were reading the Spider-Man War of the Realms tie-in today.
I started, yeah. I didn't get a chance to finish it. But you open the page and you're like, you're just thrown into this ridiculous scenario. And Spider-Man's at the center of it. And I'm like, this...
He's driving a Jeep with a troll, a giant woman, and you're
I was just like, what the hell?
What?
Even Spider-Man's like, I can't remember your name. I've met so many of you. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's so dumb. It's really silly, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and I'm kind of glad. I want the Thor book to take itself seriously, and I can understand, though, why certain people may not like that, because the Thor book leading up into this, it was heavy shit, and Malekith was not to be fucked with. He was one not to fuck with. Yeah. And this series came out, and in number 4 today, War of the Realms number 4. This one right here. I'm gonna pull up a page for you.
Okay.
And I'll ask you how you
Venom.
I know. Malekith has Venom on a chain, so you can understand.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. It's gotten silly as shit. So. I'm just going to pull up these. It's towards the back of the book. I'll pull it up for you, and then I'll let you.
Just.
It's so dumb.
Oh, my God.
It's so dumb. I'm sorry. Our internet's running slow on this computer, so Comixology is not running very well. We're just going to eat some more ice cream.
There's been about 3 comments about having Hector on this show. I'm sure Zach would love to. Problem is, Hector's busy filming stuff usually all day.
Where do you think Hector got his start, baby boy? I brought him in for a little show called The Pool.
That's right.
That's where it all started.
That's where it all began. I'd actually love to see an episode with you guys talk about comics, but also talk about the beginnings of your guys' relationship. Because it's true. That is really the thing that really started off Hector's career.
Yeah.
We were doing stuff in my bedroom, and then he started doing stuff with you, and then he brought us in to do stuff with you, and like that whole thing just like snowballed.
I remember having a long talk with Hector about the opportunity, and us about 2 weeks into rehearsals before we launched the network, and him being like, I think I'm going to quit my job, and me being like, I don't know.
Hold on.
I don't know. Like, we haven't launched this yet. That's a lot of pressure. I don't know why you told me this, man. But luckily it worked out, and Hector rose to the occasion. He quit his job, and we started I mean, I was bringing him in, I think, 5 days a week back then. So he was a primary host. So, yeah. And we were working on a couple comic book shows at the time, and it was great. So I'm going to show you this page right here. Odin Borson, the Iron Allfather. Like,
I saw, before you scrolled back, I saw the concept art and I went, that can't be what I think it is.
Yeah.
It's what I think it is.
So, Tony Stark got together with the, with the dwarves, and they were like, we need Odin back in this fight.
Jesus Christ.
Make this man a suit.
Yeah. Get this man a suit.
So dumb.
Oh
it's
my
so
God.
dumb, but I love it because it's not taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
And honestly, Freya, Jason Aaron really loves taking some of these characters from Thor's world, and especially the female characters, and just turning them up a notch.
Yeah.
Freya takes over the Black Bifrost, and she's just like, she's basically in book one, just like pretty much just telling Odin, like, you're a worthless piece of crap. I'm running this show. And she's kicking ass, and it's not until Odin gets in his iron suit that he gets back in the fight.
God.
It's so silly. It's really dumb, but I'm having a lot of fun with War of the Realms.
Yeah.
At least if we're doing a big crossover event, it's not taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
It's not becoming this big drag-out bore fest where it's just kind of like, okay, how's everything going to be different? You're telling me everything will change. I don't get the sense from this at all. This feels like old-school comic books. We're having a great time. You've got giant people eating other people in the streets. You've got angels riding horses and everything like that. It's silly. Check it out. I recommend it. Check it out.
That's so funny.
Okay, you checked out this one.
I did. Again, this goes back to the conversation of jumping into the middle of a series and kind of being like, what the hell is happening? I read, I think, the first 2 or 3 issues of the Bendis run of Superman. I liked it, but then I jumped into this issue number 11, and immediately from the beginning, you're jumping into Clark, Jonathan, Zod, this new villain that I've never heard of, and Jor-El, it seems like, and there's a lot of narration happening who I'm assuming is Superman, and it's sort of just talking about him and his son and the relationship with his son, and it just kind of felt like it was all over the place, and I couldn't really dial in what was like, whose voice am I supposed to, like, whose perspective am I supposed to be consuming this story by? The art is awesome.
I'm digging the art.
The art is really, really good. Every time I flipped it, I was like, this is amazing. I love this art. It's beautiful. There's a couple of double-page spreads that has Superman doing in like this, just really amazing, iconic
so cool.
Superman poses, floating or flying or doing action stuff with incredible backgrounds. But as you can see, it's a lot of narration. It's a lot of in Superman's head.
Dude, this is very Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah.
This is so Bendis.
And I feel like this really works if you've been following for the last 10 issues and you kind of understand the tempo of Bendis and his writing and what he's doing for the story. Again, the artwork is incredible. It's very cinematic, like it's big and bombastic, and I was listening to it while playing the Superman soundtrack, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
You obviously have all these cameos by all these different alien races and stuff, but it was a real challenge to sort of wrap my head around, like, great, where did the story come from, where is it going, and who's my in for this story? It's Superman, but there's so much stuff happening that I feel like it's a little harder to follow unless you've read some of the other books. I liked it enough that now I'm like, great, I kind of want to go back a few issues to see where this setup sort of begins. And at this point, I think I would have to pick up at issue 4. But, I mean, it's only 11 issues. You can honestly just start at 1, and you could get through 10 issues pretty fast, and then reread this with a little bit more context and get an idea where Bendis is trying to go with Superman.
Okay.
And then they have Leviathan and a few other things launching really soon. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen here with some of these characters.
I know it was a big deal whenever Bendis came from Marvel over to DC, and he was most excited about taking on Superman.
Yeah.
Bendis has a specific style, so part of me is excited to read it because Bendis does street level so well.
Yeah.
I think Bendis' best use of his voice is representing the everyman.
Yeah.
And I think Superman should be that
Totally.
sometimes, but at the same time, I don't know how good he is at writing epic. You
Sure.
know, like
I
he's
get
really
that.
good at making someone relatable, but
Yeah,
maybe not
very
godlike.
personal stories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very personal.
Yeah, and I think the biggest challenge for a lot of people with Superman, and why a lot of people don't necessarily like him a lot, is because they can't find the relatability. I would say that in the comics, there's more of an awareness of that, and they always try to in some way address that and make you sort of relate to that character or help you relate to that character in some way. Whereas in the movies, it's a little harder. He's a little bigger than life and a godlike being and all that sort of stuff, which he still is in the comics. But because they have so many more issues and stories that they can sort of flesh that out and really address the alien element of him, but also the very human element of him, I feel like in the mostly from the comic books, people have a much stronger relatability to the character, whereas cinematically maybe not as much. And he just seems to be overpowered and all these things. But
okay. Well, after that, we've got Spider-Man and the League of Realms. We briefly mentioned this one. Honestly, so I read 2 Spider-Man books this week, Spider-Man Life Story number 3 and Spider-Man League of Realms 2019. So I was really excited about Zdarsky's life story run of Spider-Man. And after reading Spider-Man League of Realms and Spider-Man Life Story right together, it only really made me realize why I'm not liking Zdarsky's run.
Yeah.
It's too dark.
Oh, okay.
Zdarsky's run, his life story run, I thought the first one in the 60s was okay. And then the 70s one, I remember putting down the book. I was so excited to read it. And putting down the book halfway through and Malika asking, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't like when Peter Parker's a dick. I don't want Tony Stark Peter Parker. I don't like that. I felt like I got that when Dan Slott was writing him.
Yeah.
And I always felt like Dan Slott writes Iron Man more like Spider-Man. I don't know. It was weird, and I don't like it. I don't like Peter Parker just being a dick. That's not who Peter Parker is to me. And I feel like the 70s and 80s issues of Spider-Man Life Story, he's kind of a piece of shit. I don't like it. I understand when Peter Parker can't meet commitments in his life out of the good that he wants to do. But when it's over his insecurities and over him just not being attentive or a good father, I don't dig it. That's not a Spider-Man story for me. I don't like it. But this Spider-Man and the League of Realms tie-in to War of the Realms was really fun in a really weird way. And I also liked it because the resolution at the end, I know you didn't get all the way to the end.
Yeah.
He creates a resolution to the conflict that doesn't involve fighting. And it's a great Spider-Man moment, you know, to just remember, like, who Spider-Man is. There's this giant war going on, and this is a super silly premise. But when all of this, you know, he's supposed to be the leader of this group. Thor made him the leader, and he thinks that's a stupid idea. But then once they get into this village where the Angels have taken this village in Nigeria, and his team just starts killing all these Angels, like, that's not who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
He doesn't kill, and he's not going to stoop down to that. So he takes a rash action and figures out a way how to end the conflict differently. And I think that that's a great Spider-Man moment.
Yeah.
And when I then immediately jumped over and read Spider-Man Life Story in the 80s, it's bringing the black suit. It's got Kraven, which I love the Kraven The Last Hunt storyline. But there's a darkness, which is weird because Zdarsky's books are usually so fun and hilarious, but it's really dark, and not the kind of dark that I can get into and think, oh, it's fun to have Peter Parker in a dark world and how he responds to it. It's more just like Peter Parker's dark.
Yeah.
And he's just not a good husband. He's not a good father, and that bums me out.
Yeah.
It bums me out.
Interesting.
I don't like it. I don't like it. So
I want to read more Spider-Man stuff. That's one character that whose comics I have not really dove into very much. I mostly know just from things Hector has suggested to me because he loves Spider-Man also.
Yeah, we fight about it all the time.
Yeah, so I haven't really done a full deep dive, but yeah, I really would like to cherry pick some stories, whether they're one-offs or like a good run, and just sit down and just read it all the way through to get sort of a better understanding of comic book Spider-Man. And I feel like, for the most part, the movies seem to have done a good job.
The new movie to me is the new movie, and Tom Holland is just to me how I've always pictured Spider-Man. Some people grew up with Spider-Man when Todd McFarlane and that kind of run were going on though, and they might have a different vision of it, but I feel like Tom Holland is like fucking Spider-Man.
I feel like because we've had 3 going into 4 with Spider-Verse and how that builds out, because we've had these various versions of Spider-Man, I feel like at some point one of these 4 has been a Spider-Man for somebody.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And somebody did ask in the chat room earlier, I believe on the YouTube side, if we would recommend them picking up Miles Morales' Spider-Man comic if they've never read Spider-Man before. And I would say 100% yes. If you're into it, if you saw Spider-Verse, you thought it was great, check out Miles Morales' run.
I love that movie.
The one that Bendis started or the one that just kind of relaunched not too long ago in Marvel, both of them are really good. And I think the guy who's writing Miles Morales right now, I'm sorry that I can't remember his name exactly right now. I've been out of the loop too long. He's killing it. His voice for Miles is much more true than Bendis's. Bendis had the right vision, set Miles up great, had a great overarching storyline, but I never felt like he really got even Miles' voice the right way. And this new writer is just, Saladin Ahmed. He's killing it. When I read his Miles, I'm like, that's Miles Morales, and he gets the voice really, really well through his writing, and you should check it out. It's really good. I would recommend it 100%.
I'm going to read that.
It's really good, man. Spider-Verse is such an inspiring movie, and
I mean, I loved Homecoming, and I've loved a lot of the other Spider-Man movies for the most part, but watching Spider-Verse, I was like, that was the thing that really inspired I really needed a deep dive on Spider-Man comic books. Because I have a surface level understanding of a lot of these references and these other Spider-Man characters, but I feel like once I can really have an opportunity to just do a dive on Peter and all the other Spider-Man characters, then I feel like I would appreciate it even more than I already did.
Yeah. Oh, it's good to see Uberbaldi showed up in the YouTube chat just to start shit.
Wow.
Yeah, welcome.
Dang.
Just to start shit.
I think he I don't know. I think we should start burning his criterions.
Oh, it's just a sad attempt for me to notice him. That's all. Nice try.
Oh God.
So, let's see. Moving on. Other books picked up this week. So, Quantum Age from the World of Black Hammer, Volume 1. I've talked about Black Hammer on this show before. I think Black Hammer is so cool. Really amazing. You got to check it out before they do the Justice League crossover.
Ooh.
You got to get up in that.
Ooh, I'm about that.
That's
right. Yeah, that's right. Duh. Is that Firestorm?
No.
Okay.
No. This whole thing is a love letter to superheroes in some ways. It's not trying to subvert it. It's more like a love letter. It's good. It's great.
I'm about that.
It's really good. Rat Queens Volume 6, The Infernal Path. For all those people watching on YouTube right now, you may not be aware that the reason we do this show live on Twitch on Wednesdays is it leads into our official Rat Queens RPG. If you are a comic book fan and you have not checked out our Rat Queens RPG, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? You should check it out. We work directly with Curtis to help make the RPG, and I think our cast is absolutely phenomenal. They embody the queens so well.
Yeah.
And that premieres after this at 7 p.m. on our Twitch channel, and then it goes up on YouTube a week later. But watching it live
watch it
really
live so
fun.
you can interact with the show.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. But this Volume 6, The Infernal Path, dropped today. It's the last volume of Curtis's run.
Whoa,
after this, Curtis is out. They've already relaunched the book with a new team. This is his ending. He's done with Rat Queens. Wow. So he's moving on to other projects. He's going to be in town though. He's going to be on the show in a couple weeks.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the show. I won't say who he's playing though.
That's rad. That's cool. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's great.
Let's see. Port of Earth number 10. Okay, so there's a couple books on here this week I haven't read yet. When I do read them, I will update you. I'll let you know what I think. I sometimes will buy books just for the cover. And like I said, if I dig it, I'll go back and start at number 1.
Yeah.
But I saw this cover on Comixology, and I was like, yeah, I am picking that up. That is a dope cover. I dig it. It leads me to a lot of questions. And then I was like, the title's really cool, too.
Yeah.
Gets my brain going.
Also, like, how often is Seattle like a setting in a comic book? Not that often, I would imagine.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
Recently, quite often, because a lot of creators are up in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Portland, Seattle, a lot of creators up there, a lot of comic book writers up there. It's a dope cover, though. I'm excited to check it out. I don't know anything about it. The summary is, as Seattle faces a deadly alien epidemic, the Earth Security Agency has its human agents covertly tracking down the source of the outbreak, both within anti-port human resistance groups and the Port of Earth itself. I'm into it. I love world building.
Why not?
I'll check out anything world building. Let's see, we also picked up Nightwing number 60. Now, this is not every book that came out this week. These are just the ones that interested us. You didn't get a chance to read this one, it looks like.
I didn't, no.
I figured you might want to give it a shot.
Yeah. I really like Nightwing. I really like the evolution that Dick Grayson takes throughout the DC universe. So I'm definitely open to reading more of this. But again, it's number 60 from a run that started almost 3 years ago. So again, it's really hard to jump into the 60th issue of a story. It also depends on, is this just a singular one-off story? Is this tying into something else?
Yeah.
Is it a two-parter, three-parter? Who knows? But I'm always interested in reading stuff about a lot of these characters who I'm still waiting to see in a movie or TV show.
All right, my 2 indie picks for the week are Oblivion Song by Robert Kirkman and Low number 22. I think Oblivion Song is absolutely phenomenal. I like it more than Walking Dead. I think Walking Dead, when it came out, had its place. It was amazing. It was so good. And then I'm just like, let Walking Dead die. And just keeps going and going. Just let it. It's done. It's done. Just let it go. But Oblivion Song is so good. It's really, really great. I would recommend it. And Low is a Rick Remender book that I would always recommend. His world building is phenomenal. The art is phenomenal. There's a little thing in the back of Low 22 where they talk about how they appreciate that everyone stuck with the book. They decided when they were going to do this book, they were only going to do it if they could release it on a window of when they thought it was ready to release.
Gotcha.
So it has been a slow burn, a very slow burn. I forget a lot of things from the beginning, so I'm excited to get the full collection.
Yeah.
When the final book comes out, they are getting towards the end of their story. Check it out from the beginning. That's the only problem I have sometimes with these really slow burns where they only release one issue every 3 to 4 months sometimes. It can be a little hard to remember everything.
Yeah, especially if you're reading a dozen comics a week. I won't.
Yeah. I checked out Last Stop on the Red Line, number 1. Anytime there's a number 1 that looks interesting, I will pick it up because I got to know, is this a book I should be checking out? Is this a book I need to put on my pull list to make sure I'm getting every week? Books I really dig, I subscribe to and make sure that they automatically download for me. I still don't know how I feel about this one. There were some really interesting concepts presented. It appears that it was really confusing, and it wasn't confusing by trying to be confusing. And I felt like the confusion was coming from the writing just being really hard to track. I mean, having a really hard time understanding what kind of story they were trying to tell me.
Okay.
There's apparently werewolves and vampires in this world, but they aren't they aren't handled in a way that are in any way recognizable or even called attention to. It was very strange. And there's these monsters that are on the Red Line, and that to me was the most interesting concept because that's just that's a good setup. It's it takes place in Boston. There's a monster on the Red Line. Okay, what's next? Where do we go from there?
Yeah.
But then it introduces this character who's having dreams about it, and he goes to meet this cop family, and then there's this weird scene where the female cop is waiting for her husband to come home, and you find out that this guy saved her daughter in a weird way, and it doesn't make any sense that she would invite this man into her home, and even less sense that he's up in her bedroom, and she's like, here's a shirt you can wear, and then she starts changing in front of him, and it doesn't track, it doesn't make sense, and the way the story jumps around, I'm going to give number 2 a shot because I think some of the concepts that were introduced are interesting, but as it stands right now, I don't know if this is a book I'm going to be picking up every week. I want to wait till I reserve full judgment until number 2, issue 2, but for now, I was confused as all hell, and it was really hard to track.
Langley's asking, how do you afford so many books? It has to do with Comixology Unlimited, right?
Comixology Unlimited, and we're a company.
Sure.
I can't afford these.
Sure.
That's the advantage we have of, it's like, oh, we're doing a show. The company that we work for, Hyper RPG, buys the books so we can read them.
Yeah.
I can't afford shit.
But still, that being said, Comixology, it's like a monthly subscription, right? And that gives you access to old comics or stuff that's already come out.
Some of them.
Right?
Yeah, you can read a lot that have already come out. But as far as new books, Hyper picks them up for us to read. So there's no way.
It gets expensive.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
But that's why we'll read as many books as we can and let you know what I think is a great book that you should pick up this week. Did you get a chance to read Justice League?
I did not, no.
Okay. I hope you get a chance to
I would like to, yeah. I'm always very interested to see what they do with Justice League books and how they use the characters for all their different roles and how they play into certain books. I forget there was some Justice League comic that I read a few months ago. I don't remember what issue it was, But I think I just had to like randomly picked it up on Comixology, and I thought, I'm going to jump in and just see. And it was good to kind of read through and see how they utilize characters like Flash and Green Lantern to the advantage of the story. And I always appreciate that when they don't stick characters in there just to prove that, like, it's a Justice League book. We have all these characters. It's like, no, if you're going to use these characters, use them the right way. So I would like to go back and check out, sort of see how the Justice League run is going.
Let me know when you do. I feel like I need you to help me out on these DC books.
Sure.
I don't keep up with them. I'm excited to check this out. I had heard about it before. I picked up the Volume 0 Junk Complete Garbage.
I mean, just the title alone, I'm like, sure.
I'm into it. I'm gonna check it out. And then this was probably my favorite Marvel book that I read so far this week.
Man.
War of the Realms Giant Man. So, again, War of the Realms sets up some of the dumbest shit. Freya calls together all of the giant men from Marvel Comics, puts Scott Lang in charge, and it's like, I need you to make a heist on all the giants, the frost giants. So they have to paint themselves. They paint themselves blue, and they're trying to sneak into a frost giant village, and it's silly as shit. Again, all this War of the Realms stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really good. It's really fun. It's, I think, the best tie-in this week for War of the Realms. It's a great setup. It's a great premise, and we get to see Scott interacting with the other giant man, which we never really get to see that happen. And it's just like they're running away from giant dogs and jumping over buildings and stuff.
Why not?
It's great.
Why not? A lot of people are saying, or a couple of people are saying that if you love Justice League the cartoon, that the comic apparently is a lot like that, which I'm
the new one? Oh, cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. I'm about that.
Now, I have a feeling when I read this book, it will be my favorite for the week. But I haven't read it yet. As far as Marvel releases go,
tight.
Which is Guardians of the Galaxy number 5, and that is just because Cates is writing it. Cates, for those that don't know, did the amazing relaunch of Venom, and completely, Venom has always sucked to me. There will be people in the chat that will be upset by this, but I think Venom is a shit character, and that was until Flash got the Venom suit, and we had Agent Venom. Then I was like, okay, we can work with this. There's purpose behind this. It's no longer just 90s excess for the sake of being excessive.
Sure.
We actually get a story that feels right. And then after Agent Venom left and it's going back to Eddie Brock, I was like, I don't see how I'm ever going to care about Eddie Brock. I think Eddie Brock is just such a dumb setup for a character. And I stood completely corrected. Danny Cates, like, he made it really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And the relationship between the two and the way it was written, and he set up like the symbiote god and all of the ways that get passed down and how Venom responds to that and his place and all those things. And so when I heard he was getting on Guardians of the Galaxy, I got really excited. And so far, it's been really good.
Yeah.
It's been really good.
Nice.
I think he's one of the best writers at Marvel right now.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the top people over there.
You know,
Him and Jason Aaron, I think, are killing it.
What's exciting for me, as someone who like doesn't really read Marvel too much, because of the movies and because of how good they are, I see Hela and I see Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm like, great. 2 things I like from the movies. Give me the comic book versions. Let me see. Let me consume that and see how they write those characters in the comics, and how Hela, a character from Thor Ragnarok, interacts with characters from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean,
we
can do this because we can. I'm just going to pull it up. Let's just look at it. I just want to see it. I want to see what goes on in this one.
That's what's so fun. And that's what I think, like, that's the advantage of having such a successful series of films is, like, a lot of people, I'm sure, maybe they didn't read a lot of these comics prior to, but now having the opportunity to go back and, like, I mean, my God, Groot, Beta Ray Bill,
Groot talks.
Oh. Wow.
And we also got freaking Beta Ray Bill up in here.
Beta Ray Bill, yeah.
Oh, man, it's so good. Nova. I freaking love Nova.
Yeah. Did you hear that they actually may have had, like, some plans to bring Nova into
I heard that.
Avengers? Yeah.
I've heard all of the stupid things the writers have been saying everywhere, and I wish they would just shut up.
Guys.
Just shut up.
This is a public service announcement to the Russos and to Marcus and McFeely. You don't need to answer and justify every single choice and decision you made in the movie.
Especially when it's so clear now that the directors and the writers didn't agree on everything.
Yeah.
And it feels like the directors are coming out and saying, this is what this meant, and the writers are like, that's not what we wanted it to mean.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Just stop. We don't need answers to everything. It's like if you watched Endgame, you can decipher all the threads in that movie on your own based on the logic that the movie presents. That's it. Done. It's a great movie. Saw it 6 times already.
Yep. So moving on to the other books. Let's see what else we picked up today. I'm going to go ahead and get some of our awesome music started back up here, though. So let's see. After Giant Man Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, so I also picked up some more indie books.
Speaking of a great cover.
Well, this is from. Did you ever read? Oh my God, everybody, Chew.
I have not.
Chew is so good.
Yeah.
Chew is some of the best world building out there.
Yeah.
And this is his new book, Farmhand. I feel like an idiot. I have not read this yet. So I picked up issue 8, and if I dig it, I'm going to go back and start at 1. Yeah. And I almost 100% know I will love it because Chew was phenomenal. I couldn't wait. Every time Chew was dropping, I just, Chew was so good.
Good Chew.
Good Chew. Black Badge number 10. I know nothing about this. I love buying books with cool covers.
Boom,
this had a cool
comic.
cover, and it's a Matt Kent book. And I love me some Matt Kent. Matt Kent gets real weird, real deep with different psychologies around. It's great. So Matt Kent always gets me in a good mood. Bitter Root was another one I picked up this week just because the art was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to check it out. So, and the reason there's so many books this week, for those that watch on Twitch know this because it's not unusual to them. People that are watching on YouTube are like, why are you talking about all these books if you haven't read them yet? We do this weekly, and we read as much as we can. This week, I set up an entire new tech setup today, so I spent all morning today rebuilding our upstairs studio, and I got done about 1 hour before the show. So I read as many books as I could in an hour. I got through as many as I could in an hour. Most of the time, I'll come to the show having read a lot more books that came out this week. This week was a little tough, so I'll have to update you as we go.
Yeah, and I think same thing for me. Like, I want to just Wednesday morning wake up. That's why I was like, God damn it, maybe I need to buy an iPad. Just get in bed and just like, great, let's go. Because it doesn't take that long to get through some of them. You know, some of these are a quick read. And like I read that Superman book, and I was like, I'm done already. I thought there'd be more to this. Okay.
Should we read this one?
Oh my God.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up and then cut to it.
Sure.
I'm gonna pull it up first and then cut to it. I saw this in the comic book shop on Saturday. Malika and I, anytime we travel, we stop at a comic book shop. This is something we've always done. Any new town we go to, we'll try to find a board game store and a comic book store, and usually a movie theater too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like those are the 3 things. Like we gotta find those things.
Right.
Check them out. And I saw this at the comic book store on Saturday, and I was like, oh dear God, oh dear God. So this is a comic book.
This could go one of 2 ways. It could be great, or
it could be great, or it could be
or
trash.
not.
It's going to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read it though. I am going to read it.
You hope that all you hope for is that it's great, so people don't use it as fire against people. Like,
well, I mean, the cover is pretty great. I mean, you knocked out the Republican Party, and the Democrat in the background is worried. I don't. Oh my God!
Wow!
Oh my gosh!
Wow! Okay.
All right, we're gonna flip through here a little bit and see what's going on. Oh my God!
That's a cover, dude. That's some like classic cover
I know.
action.
I wonder if this is just a collection of shorts. This might be a collection of short stories, honestly.
Interesting.
Nancy Pelosi. Okay, hold the fuck up. Nancy Pelosi.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna hold on. Enhance. Oh, God. I'm gonna print this out and hang it in our bathroom. This is so good. It's gonna hang right above the toilet. Yeah, maybe this jumped the shark too quick. I don't know. I was like, let's check this book out.
I think you needed a little bit more of an in for this. Well,
oh dear God,
that's that.
That's amazing. So it's a wrestler. Like I'm guessing this is a collection of short stories. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, what the hell?
Right?
Justice Engine.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Interesting.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
I love that. Super Mega Ultra Hyperforce in the Twitch chat says, never has Hyper sold me quicker on a comic book.
Done. Enhance.
Oh, my God.
Done.
0 fucks.
Wow. Interesting.
Look at all these middle fingers. Alexandra tried PK zero fucks.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
It's cool
this
art
is
style.
Great. This reminds me a lot of the Luna Brothers.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. Wow, so this is just straight up like a comedy book.
Yeah.
This is just definitely a comedy book. This is crazy.
What?
Make
What?
America empathetic again. Oh my god.
That's great.
Oh man.
This might have to go on my read. Tweet World. Wow.
Tweet World. Oh yeah, Jesus.
Good Lord.
Mad Libs, mad as hell libs. Oh, we'll print this out and fill it out later. This is great. Wow. Okay, cool. There's some really interesting stuff.
Here,
yeah. What is this called? I'm pretty sure it's just if we go back to page 1 here. Oh man, they packed it full of shorts.
It's a lot of stuff in there.
I mean, you'll be able to find it at your comic book store, no problem, because it's the only one that's going to look like this.
Yeah, right? Oh, man. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the Freshman Force. New party, who dis?
Yeah, so I'm going to read that later.
Yeah.
I'm going to read that whole thing. I don't know about reading it on the air, but
yeah,
I'm going to read that. And, oh, yeah, there were only two. There was the new Batman this week, Batman number 71.
which I've heard a lot of interesting things about. I saw the last page, I think it's a double page spread. And there's a lot of people coming out of it concerned that King is going to do something drastic with Batman, whether it's kill him or change up the mantle or who knows what. I don't know. I have not read this run of Batman, so I don't know. But here's the thing about, when we talked about this a little bit earlier, is like whenever they do these drastic changes to these characters, or they try to do something that's like big cliffhanger moment, it's not forever. You know, there was so much controversy last year, or was it last year or the year before, with Captain America saying Hell Hydra, being a Hydra agent.
Yeah.
And then you find out you understand what the story is, you get the context of the story, and now a couple of years later, a year or two later, we're having him say Hell Hydra in Endgame, and we're laughing at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I mean, I'm a big believer in, and if any of you in the chat room are people that do this, who join the outrage bandwagon when it comes to comic books, I'm going to call you out right now. I think it's absolutely stupid. If you're a comic book fan and you read comics week to week, you know that this shit isn't like
permanent.
It's not permanent. And honestly, I'm glad people do it. It gets boring when you read these books week to week.
Yeah.
If you read every single book that's coming out every week, it gets boring, and sometimes I'm glad somebody injects that stuff with something new and fresh and takes the rug out from under you and is like, you didn't see that coming?
Yeah.
Crazy, right? I know it's going to go back to normal. Nobody thought Captain America was actually going to be a freaking member of Hydra forever.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Jesus Christ, especially when there's things like cosmic cubes out there. Get out of here. It blows my mind that people jump on those outrage bandwagons.
I hope it's something ridiculous like Alfred has been Batman secretly through this entire run. Something really crazy. People are like, what the fuck?
Takes off his mask.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
I brought you some ice cream, Master Grayson. Like,
what? We had Amazing Spider-Man number 21, Hunted. I'm excited to check this one out. I've been really digging the Hunted storyline. I think it's really great. I think that I was not expecting it to be good. Mm-hmm. I love Spider-Man's collection of villains that are all animal-based. And you got Arcade in this. Arcade and Kraven working together to collect all of Spider-Man's animal-based villains.
Nice.
And Kraven's putting them all trapped in Central Park fighting each other.
Oh, my God.
It's straight up.
Wow.
It's Spencer. I think Spencer, it took me a little bit to warm up to Spencer's Spider-Man run, but I love Superior Foes of Spider-Man. And once he started bringing that energy into this book, I really got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there you go. Kraven right there. Oh,
nice.
Yeah. Old angry Russian himself.
Some good artwork.
And, of course, if you have a Kraven storyline and you got a Spider-Man storyline, you got to bring Vermin in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. He's one of the OG parts of that story.
Oh, and got a little vulture action happening. Man, there's a lot. Look at all that.
Oh,
one of them.
So many of his villains are animal-based, so
yeah.
you'll find that a lot of them are in this book. And I'm excited to check this out. I'll be reading this before I go
That's
to bed
awesome.
tonight.
That's some really great. I love the dramatic lighting on a lot of these.
I believe this is the return of. And before I speak, I want to check the credits and make sure before I say something stupid.
Make sure.
Let's see. It's nope. Okay. Trying to see who the artists are here. Okay. But yeah, lots of fun stuff happening in this Hunted storyline. I'm really, really excited to keep checking it out and see how it goes from there. Doctor Strange.
Oh, what the hell? Nice.
Yeah, gonna be lots of tie-ins and crossovers in this book, but
that's fun.
It's a fun run. I'm really enjoying it. And like I said, they have the. It's like 1 week it'll be Hunted, and the next week it'll be HU, and that'll be like a spotlight on the villain. And those have been some of my favorites. It'll be like an insight into the villain and their story as all this is going down.
So, like a lot of these Spider-Man comics, like this one, he's got the black symbiote suit. The other comic, The War of the Realms,
and it has to do a lot with the current Kraven storyline.
So is it
this
like
whole thing's a callback to Kraven the Last Hunt?
Gotcha.
And because Kraven died. And the setup for this story is like Kraven died. And this is a stupid setup. Don't get me wrong. This is a stupid setup. Kraven dies. His family brings him back. He doesn't want to be brought back. He kills his family. And the only way he can die, he knows, is by the spider. That's the only way he can die. So then, somehow, along the way, he makes a bunch of genetic clones of himself, and he has them all fight each other. Only one survives, so he calls that one his son.
What?
Comic books.
I love it.
Comic books. And then he sets up this whole thing with Arcade and all these people.
Yeah.
But it's also to weed out the weak villains, too. So, like, the villains think it's crazy. He sets up this thing where billionaires get to hunt the villains, and the billionaires think that they get to just be, like, connected to these VR suits that all look like Kraven.
My God!
So
comics,
book.
Guys, comics.
So comic book.
I'm waiting for a Marvel movie to go that crazy and for us to be like, yeah, that's comics.
I mean, Endgame got close.
Yeah, right.
And Infinity War both, but then eventually the villains start killing these robots, and then the billionaires realize that they can't escape the machines that they're broadcasting from, and if the robot dies, they die, and then Kraven's like weeding out the weak and all this kind of stuff. Whatever, it's a Kraven storyline.
I love it.
It's fun.
Just ridiculous.
Honestly,
I'm about it.
The villain spotlights have been my favorite part about it. Outside of that, I think that's everything I picked up this week. I know Final Fantasy Master was asking because I mentioned on Twitter that I wanted some more. I wanted some more recommendations for things that remind them of Kolok.
Sure.
That I could start checking out, and Final Fantasy Master recommended Planetary.
Oh, cool.
Which was a DC run. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to check it out. And I picked up a couple other books.
Good old Murder Falcon.
Weird #1 and Invisible Kingdom #1 were some other books that I picked up. Invisible Kingdom #1 I picked up over the weekend from G. Willow Wilson. I'm excited to check out. But we got to read a book. We're getting towards the last 30 minutes of our show.
Yeah.
And on this show, we do a live reading of a comic book and just have fun and be stupid.
We zipped through. Was there more books this week? It seemed like it.
There were more books, but we also talked a lot longer at the beginning about TV
what this is and all that stuff. That's true. We roped in TV this week as well. Oh, there goes my chair.
I'm down to do if people want us to talk about superhero TV. I can do that.
Look, if it's the thing that gets me to start watching more of it on a weekly basis, then so be it.
Do you really want that? I don't know. Is that something you want?
I'm down to watch more Wong Kar-wai.
Oh, yeah, baby. I was so excited. I got to share with Adam one of my favorite movies of all time last night. It has nothing to do with it does have something to do with comic books. The colors in that movie. Oh, my God. So I showed him In the Mood for Love last night. I showed him Chungking Express last week. Next week, we'll watch 2046. Unfortunately, there is no Blu-ray copy of 2046 available. It was only printed in Korea on Blu-ray, and according to the reviews, it's not even like a proper transfer to Blu-ray. It's just like an upscale from the DVD. You can only find 2046 on DVD. It drives me crazy.
But tonight, we're going to watch John Wick.
We got to watch John Wick tonight, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Very common.
Number 3.
Great. Good times. Good times.
What are we reading?
All right, so what are we going to read? That's a question, too, for the chat. We do have a couple indie books that are brand new.
Yeah.
Last week we read Murder Falcon, and I cannot recommend Murder Falcon enough.
It's so freaking good. Like,
I wonder if we should go back and check out Farmhand #1.
I'm down.
Because
Farmhand, or what was the other one? Go back up.
Junk.
Which one was it? Oh, this one. Port of
Earth. Okay, just for the sake of reliability of storytelling, I'm going to go for Farmhand.
Okay.
Because that writer... Oh, look at that! My wifey brought me some ice cream, and your girlfriend bought you some Mountain Dew.
They're going to say, my wifey. I'm like, sure. Whatever. Mountain Dew.
We are two lucky dudes, man. We are two lucky dudes. We can sit here and talk comic books, and our special ladies
bullshit, and
bring us sweets.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm not going to read Power Rangers. That stuff gets messy. I'm going to stay away from that.
We're going to leave it at that.
We're going to leave it at that. I don't want to send the wrong message. Anytime we talk about Power Rangers or even bring up Power Rangers, the amount of people in our audience that get the wrong idea, tweet things out, take things the wrong way, we're not allowed to talk about or even mention Power Rangers anymore. We're just not doing it.
When there's like movie news that has nothing to do with us, it's like...
We're going to be really careful about navigating those waters.
Yep. Because I don't want to drown.
Yep. You know what? So, yeah, I think I'm going to check out. We're going to go back. We're going to check out Farmhand #1.
Okay. I'm down.
I bet there's a volume 1 in here.
I'm actually super excited about reading something, just like with Murder Falcon, something that like I've never heard of and have no context of. Because the superhero stuff is fun. But if you live in that world, whether it's the movies or the shows, you have an idea of who the characters are. Even when it's characters that maybe have not been in a show or a movie, you have an understanding of them through... other comics or animated stuff. So it's like, I'm excited about something that I'm like, I have no clue what this is.
Well, especially since you never read Chew.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't even know. Like, usually we like to do these reads with soundtracks.
Yeah.
That's going to be a little tougher now that we're co-streaming to YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, true.
We could kind of get away with it on Twitch a little bit more.
Sure.
So I'm trying to think to myself, what would even be... Video game soundtracks we can kind of get away with. So I'm trying to think, okay, what's a good video game soundtrack that I could listen to while we're reading Farmhand?
Just to give you context about Murder Falcon, we listened to just a bunch of, like, metal music.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It was so good. No, nothing went bad with... See, already you all are jumping to conclusions, and you're proving why we don't ever talk about Power Rangers. We don't bring it up because you guys fill in your own conclusions, you draw your own stories, and then somebody tweets something out, and then we get a phone call from lawyers, and we're like, we never said anything! What the fuck? So we just avoid talking about Power Rangers in any way, shape, or form on our network to make sure you don't say stuff that then comes back on us as if we said something, and we didn't. Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Our lawyer has arrived.
I didn't say anything.
Legal counsel's here.
I said nothing. We didn't say anything.
Someone's rappelling from the roof already.
Trauma.
This is what it feels like to be Chris Evans making Captain America
movies.
Right.
Yeah.
But not making Captain America movies.
Okay, right now we're listening to Spider-Man the video game soundtrack. I'm trying to think. Farmhand.
John Paisano.
Is there even a video game that had a kind of like interesting... I don't even know. Katamari. Let's see. I wonder if like the soundtrack for Fury Road would be good. Fury Road game soundtrack. Did it have its own soundtrack?
It brings up Mad Max, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I know, right? Stardew Valley? Okay. Okay, Stardew Valley OST, I am on board.
Oh, man.
Yeah! All right. I'm digging
We're going to start reading this, we're like, this is not right.
I don't care. We're good. This is good. This is good. Thank you for the recommendation. All right, let's get into it.
Rob Guillory's Farmhand.
Volume 1. Reap what was sown. The music transfers us to it. Like, when the metal music was playing, it was like, yes! This is going to be like, and today we're reading you a story. Created, written, and drawn by Rob Guillory. Guillory? Guillory?
Guillory fucked it up.
Okay.
Colors by Taylor Wells.
Dedication for my family. Special thanks to John Lehman, Ross Thibodeau, David Harper for the encouragement, and thanks to April Guillory for all the love. Chapter 1. Did you get it?
Nah, it was too fast.
Scared him pretty good, though. What was that, Zeke? A big raccoon?
Bobcat, I think. Got it under the fence and tore a chicken to shreds.
Didn't Dad tell you to fix the hole in the fence already?
I was gonna tomorrow, okay? Just got busy with homework and taking care of the animals. Why Dad have to take a business trip during finals anyway?
You know what Dad says excuses are like buttholes, Zeke. Everyone's got one, and Dad hates buttholes.
Andy, if you're not going to help me... Oh, there we go. I can actually read this now.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize some people were blind.
I'm like, eh.
And you got glasses, too.
I know. I need to update my prescription. Andy, if you're not going to help me clean this mess, just go to bed already. I've got enough to deal with without... Ah! Fuck that. No thank you.
Oh, what the fuck? Wait, what the... That's an eyeball. Holy shit.
That's terrifying.
So all those chickens died, and there's an eye... Oh, yes. What is that?
It's a person.
It's...
Dad?
What the fuck?
Fuck that noise. It's Dad!
But Dad's away on business.
Grab the shovel, Andy. Quick, help me. Come on.
Don't hit his neck.
Stop! Ezekiel! Dad?
I don't know what this looks like, son, but this is how it has to be. And you need to leave me be. This is the only way.
What are you talking about? Dad, I don't know what happened, but I'll get you out. Just give me your hand.
No! Don't touch me. Don't. No!
Oh, what the fuck?
What the fuck's going on?
What is happening?
You should have left me, son.
What the fuck? Look at the chicken. That's horrifying. Whatever's happening right now, horrifying.
I want to go back to bed. Now it's too damn late for you. I want to go back and... For your sister.
Oh, my God.
For all of us. I'm sorry, son. I tried. I really did. I wanted. But good fruit can't come from a bad tree, Ezekiel.
This seed was sown?
This seed was sown long before us. Shit.
I lost my spot. Shit.
The roots are deep in the black soil. Black as the heart of man. Our family tree.
What the fuck? Oh, is this you?
No, you go for it, man. That's a
We're
tree.
just branches on a tree of wow. I went for it.
Yo, this ain't Murder Falcon, you know.
I know, but it's so much better when it's just so over dramatic.
That's dope. Oh god, so it's like grown up.
Oh,
Those are all people on
yeah.
the tree. Oh shit.
What in the farts? That's crazy. That's some good artwork.
Are you okay?
Yeah, just a dream, a bad dream. We're late. Farm's a ways away. I'll get the kids.
Wake me when the coffee's ready.
Yeah. It's me slobbering in bed. You haste coffee? Boom, boom. Ah! Chupacabras. Is this going to be another comic that I'm going to fall in love with just immediately? Boom, boom.
Oh yeah.
Now remember what I told you.
We know, Dad. Don't touch anything. Especially if it looks expensive. Can we watch Unsolved UFO Mysteries on the way to Grandpa's? No way, booger butt. I called dibs on Nistink in Nistink?
What?
Nistink in concert. Mom!
First time he's ever seen his grandpa, and he doesn't even care.
Riley's 6, honey. Unless his grandpa's Optimus Prime, he's not interested. How you doing? Big day today.
I don't know. Feels surreal being back here, let alone having the family together again. Waiting for the other shoe to drop, as usual.
I think this is good. I have a feeling. Let's just take it as it comes. And save for the kids' therapy later. Chapter 1. You can go home again, but why?
I ask myself that every time my family asks me to come to San Diego. Amazing.
That's great.
Welcome to Freetown, oasis of the South.
Uh-huh.
Where all signs are hand-painted.
Salt is gas. We got gas.
Feed store. Wow. Right on.
Wash your stank hands. Jenkins Farm Cookout. Jenkins Family Farm. Confinement zone. No photos. Dad, are we there yet?
I think so, sweetheart. Though it's a little different than I recall. What the hell?
Stop for guard. No cell phones. No selfie sticks.
Phoenix 7-Eleven. That's your cool.
Morning. Name?
Zeke Jenkins. I have an 8:15 with Jed.
Oh, you're Mr. Jenkins' boy. The writer, right? Your daddy's always talking about you.
Really?
Hey, park on the left by the bus. Class field trip day, so you picked a good day for a tour. Trolley will come around in 10 minutes. Oh, and please leave all cell phones and devices in your vehicle.
There's a trolley now?
All aboard! Who's ready for a good old-fashioned hayride? Hay makes my ears bleed. That was just one time, sweetie. Well, you're in luck, 'cause this ain't real hay, son. Hop in.
Zach, you're just playing yourself at this point.
Okay, I got to zoom back out just to see.
Oh, it's Hayman.
Oh, it's Hayman?
It's the Hayman.
Okay, we'll go back in. Oh, shit!
Outside
Shit! Controlling this. This you folks' first time on the farm?
Sort of.
Well, you folks are in for a treat. Please make sure your VR headsets are secure. Please sit back and enjoy this 1-minute highly expensive theatrical retelling of our farm's rise from its humble beginnings. Oh shit, why does it keep changing?
There we go.
To its current place as trailblazer on the frontier of pharmaceutical stem cell research. Dad, Grandpa got Jaden Smith to play you? That's so cool. Wait, what?
What the fuck? Oh my god.
Do you want to read this voiceover?
Sure.
This page is like so hard to track, but this is so fucking cool.
It all began with one man. Jedediah Elias Jenkins was a simple farmer from a long line of simple farmers.
I was raised on the soil. I just like my daddy and his daddy before him.
A family man.
I'll never let anything come between this family, by God, I swear it.
Oh, and then one vision changed it all.
I was just plowing the back of grease when I saw it, a bright light. And then all of a sudden I knew things I had no way of knowing. I wrote down what I saw as fast as I could. It was like a map, but nothing like I'd ever seen.
With the financial support of longtime friend Randall Lafayette of Lafayette Oil and Gas, Jed was able to privately conduct his research, contracting the best and brightest bioengineers in the world.
You need new glasses, boy.
Nah, it's so thin. The text is so thin. 3 years later, the Jedediah seed was created, and with it, the biomedical and pharmaceutical landscape was changed forever.
What Jedediah has drawn out was essentially the blueprint for a new type of human stem cell, an intelligent cell that not only adapted to surrounding tissue, but seemed to instinctually know how through tissue ought to be repaired, a cell with a sense of intelligent design, as it were.
Welcome to the Jenkins Family Pharmaceutical Institute. Welcome to our future.
Those are fucking hands.
That is fucking... The tree is also just blood red.
Hold on, there's fingers coming out of those flowers, and those are hearts.
Wow.
And there's mouths.
Wow.
And little
Those
eyeballs
kidneys.
and shit. What the
in the
fuck?
world?
What the fuck is that? The fuck?
I love these fucked up indie comics.
This is definitely a lot like Chew. This is great.
Thanks to the genetic interweaving of the Jedediah stem cell with plant DNA, Jenkins Institute bioengineers are able to deliver safe, transplant-ready farm-grown organs without the expensive limitations that hampered past bioengineering techniques. It's simple. Our farmlands just plant, add water, and Mother Nature does the rest.
Mama, can I sleep with you tonight? None of us are sleeping tonight, sweetie. Into the ride, folks. Y'all have a great time now. This is so cool. I want to climb one of those big arm trees when I want to arm wrestle it.
She would get excited at the House of Horrors, wouldn't she?
Look, there's the rest of our tour, or the rest of the tour. Now, who wants a candy? They're green apple flavored. My mom says not to take candy from strangers, and this is all very, very strange.
Dad, we have guests. Oh, hey.
Hey, son.
You look old.
Yeah, and you're still a smart-ass, just like your mama. Welcome home, son.
I love how you have the accent, but I don't. I've clearly grown out of it.
You've grown out of it, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. You don't live on the farm no more.
That's right. Oh my God, it's so good to see you guys. My family's all here. Did you miss your Auntie Andrea?
You're murdering us, Aunt Andy. There's people here.
Kids, this is your grandpa.
Boop, boop. Hi. Hello, Riley. I've heard so much about you. And my sweet girl Abigail. Last time I saw you, well, you probably don't even remember.
Aww.
What the shit. I remember you, Grandpa.
So sweet.
Hearts level 7.
Wow. What the fuck? Hey, why don't I take May and the kids along our tour while you two catch up? We can meet up later at the Scout Bush.
That
Okay.
sounds great, except the scalp bush part.
You two listen to your mom, and remember...
Don't touch anything, especially if it looks expensive. You taught them well. We try.
Excuse me, madam. Where's the nearest toilet? Turn right the kidney patch. Straight ahead. Sign straight ahead. Excellent.
Madam?
Must be studying abroad. We get all kinds since we went public.
Things have changed so much.
Some things, and others not so much. Freetown's grown some. Dad's done a lot for the local economy, but at its core, folks still like a slower pace of life, you know? That'll probably never change.
Maybe that's a good thing. Someone's got to take the time to smell the roses.
True. God, I'm glad you guys are back. After everything, having the family together again, it feels like some crazy dream. Your thumb, you broke your own rule. No live human trials.
Yeah, well, someone had to do it. Who better? It was right after you left. Hit a bit of a dark patch. Hard to believe it's only been 7 years. Feels like a lifetime.
I'm glad you called. I wish you'd done it sooner.
I know, it's just... You know me, after your mom and after you left, I busied myself with hard work. And we've done a lot of good. We brought healing to people. But what good is it if I can't even share this with my children? It's the Jenkins family farm, for God's sake. I was wrong, Ezekiel. About a lot. And you were right to leave, but I'm glad you're home. I want to start over. I want my family back.
Yeah, I'd like that. There's a lot to work through, but I want to move forward. All I ask is this. No more secrets, no more surprises. From now on, everything's above board in this family. Deal?
Scouts honor. Everything above board.
Lies.
Authorized personnel only. Nursery and development. Restricted. Restricted.
Restricted.
Oh, now we get a little peek
shady.
of what's going on in there.
Shady.
New growth.
Oh, plucking them fingers off the vine.
What the fuck?
Luke Skywalker's in this comic book? What in the world? My God.
I didn't see that coming.
Hey, kid! What are you, lost? You shouldn't be. Stick a nose up, man.
What the?
Whoa!
Holy shit! This kid's a coat purple. Stop him! What the fuck?
What in the?
Boonk.
Oh no!
Goddamn kids today. Way to get your ass kicked by a toddler, dummy.
The kid's a freaking ninja.
Shut it! Jed ain't gonna want to hear your excuses any more than I do. Go! Tell the boss. We got...
Weeds in the greenhouse, sir.
I see. Excuse me for a moment, son. Elsewhere?
So, is it okay old man Jenkins is your grandpa?
Yeah? What's it to ya?
Nothing. Except my grandmama says he's the devil.
What?
Yeah, because all the zombie plants from the pit of hell and stuff. Heck, Ronnie here even saw a bunch of zombie demons one night with old Jenkins last summer. I seen it.
How old are you kids?
8. Ronnie's 7. Why? You interested?
Riley, if you're as dumb as these two snot jockeys when you turn 8, I'll brain ya. I promise to be smart, Abby. Dad, why do the boys say Grandpa's the devil? Because kids in this town are morons, Riley.
Settle down, Abby. Your grandpa's a lot of things, but he is certainly not the devil.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Oh, who's your employer?
Darth Vader.
That looks Russian?
That's too German.
Oh. Friend, I may only be a simple farmer, but I got more than a few tricks up my sleeve. Was he much trouble, Tiberius? Piece of cake, boss. Why'd you lose your arm in the war? Or were you born this way? Doesn't matter. You know I began my research to help people like you, victims of war, disease. It's a broken world we live in. You clearly know that already. The folks that hired you, you're just a tool to them. And my farm, just a business opportunity, but they're fools. This is a healing center. I make people whole here. Tiberius? Oh, shit. On it, boss. How about you? Don't you want to be whole?
Oh, man.
Shit. I understand. You don't know. Come. My sheep know my voice. This is going to feel like punishment, but I promise it's actually grace. Hold him.
Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
You're about to get grooted.
That arm made its way over there on its own? That's fucked up.
Yeah. That would explain...
Oh,
That would explain why all the leaves are blood red.
don't be afraid, son. This will probably sting a bit.
Oh, my God.
Oh, fuck. Oh, yes. There we go.
Shit.
The graft is taken just fine.
Why? What did you do?
I gave you a new start, child. Same as any of my clients. In 30 minutes, it will be impossible to tell the tissue from yours. Your employer can try to harvest all he wants, but it won't do any good. Of course, knowing him, that won't stop them from dissecting you. Just to be sure, he'll kill you for it. He has before. I highly recommend a new line of work, kid.
What do you want with me?
Son, you're just a child. All I want is to give you a chance to be one.
There you are, Mickey. Where have you been?
Oh, the boy's fine. Took a wrong turn on his way to the toilet. But everything's fine, just fine. Right, son?
Yes, sir. Just fine.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Of course.
I'm glad that I assumed the right voice.
Yeah.
That just solidified it. Bye, Grandpa. I think your farm's super cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Abigail. How about you, Riley? Well, I thought it was really scary, but the tractors were cool. Well, you know, if you ever want to help out around here, I could always use another hand or two. Really? Dad? We'll talk about it. Whatever you decide, thank you again. I haven't felt this good in years.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks for coming.
How bad was the code purple?
Youngest one yet. A boy. Came with the field trip. They got too close this time. A lot of good a sample would do them fools. Keep your eyes open, Andrea. The vultures are circling again.
Oh, shit.
Later. Well, I thought that went well. I mean, no immediate red flags, at least. You made an old man happy today.
Yeah, it was weird. Been imagining this for years. Now that it's here, I don't know what to make of it. What'd you think of my dad's offer about the kids helping out at the farm?
I don't know. On one hand, it seems too fast, and on the other, you know how many parents would kill for this opportunity? Hello, college scholarships.
True, but I don't know. Let's just take it slow, maybe.
You still think your father's hiding something, don't you? You think there's an angle? Or is this about the thing with Thorn? You think we made a mistake coming back?
No. We needed to save cash, at least until I get a new project going. Moving back to the old house made sense. Hell, it'd been empty for years anyway. That's not what bugs me.
Then what? Mr. Gloom and Doom can't handle a happy ending to the family drama?
Maybe I'm having trouble believing a leopard can change his spots.
You did, didn't you?
You didn't have to go there. Look, can we sleep on this? There's been enough adulting today.
Agreed.
Unless you want to...
I'm tired, okay?
Just asking. Love you.
Click. Oh, shit. Love you, too. Thorn for mayor. Who the fuck's Thorn?
Oh, boy.
Epilogue. Shit.
Dang.
Federal Bureau of Investigation. Subject profile report.
Oh, shit.
Fuck.
You have 35 missed calls.
Oh, man, this is too co-locked right now.
Oh, my
Some
God.
synchronity shit. Getting the FBI up in it. Oh,
blown.
shit. Okay.
Not in a good way.
All right.
Okay.
End of chapter 1.
Woo! He's the Russian boy.
That's some good shit. I'm into it.
That was good. I really liked that.
Into it.
That was good.
I'm super into it.
I dug.
Thank you all so much on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you guys. Really appreciate you all checking out today for Comics and Coffee. We will be back next week at 5 p.m. Same time, same place. And let us know what you think about the comic books today. Make sure to tweet at HyperRPG, hyper_RPG. Let us know what you picked up in your pools today at your local comic book shop. We would love to know and talk about any of the things you are reading right now that we should check out. I'm going to keep reading this. We're going to go off the air, and I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to keep reading this book.
I like that. I thought it was really, really fun. I think it's a nice contrast to Murder Falcon.
Yeah.
This and that. I'm like, oh, 2 indies that I'm going to love. I'm in.
Dude, I'm telling you, indie books right now are where it's
crushing
at.
It.
They're fucking crushing it. But seriously, head over to twitch.tv/hyperrpg right now. We are going offline and then right back up for Rat Queens. If you are a fan of comic books and you watched us read this comic book, then you need to head over there and tune in to all the goodness that is about to go down. All right, you want to say goodbye?
Bye-bye.
Cool, that was a goodbye. I gotta pull up this page here. Badink.
Bading.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.